Summer is here. There's lots to do, and the CTA will get you there. Take the Red Line to a game.
You never know when you might be sitting next to one of the starting lineup on your way to the game.
Take a bus to a museum. Take a tour of Wrigleyville.
It is certainly one of the most popular destinations in the city of Chicago today.
Explore everything Chicago this summer on the CTA.
So glad you've joined us. I'm Dale Rivera. Welcome to Connections.
Sports fans, get ready. You'll have something to cheer about as we take you by bus to the Chicago Historical Society for a trip down memory lane. Then we'll hop on the number 22 Clark Street bus, headed for one of Chicago's youngest, hippest, and hottest neighborhoods. Our destination? Wrigleyville. Next, we're on board the Red Line, headed to the Field Museum for a historical look at the game of baseball. We'll pass some beautiful art at the CTA's Roosevelt Tunnel, on our way to U.S. Cellular Field, our last stop.
Our adventure begins here in Grant Park. It's home to many summertime attractions. Buckingham Fountain, the Independence Day fireworks, free concerts, the Taste of Chicago, the list goes on and on. There's a lot to do here, and the best way to get here is on the CTA, of course.
If you're heading to Grant Park this summer, you're not alone. Millions of people will be here to take in one of the city's many free, that's right, free, festivals or concerts. Known as Chicago's front lawn, Grant Park is where the music is. Let's see, there's Latin, jazz, blues, and gospel, to name a few.
These are a lot of musical forms that are played out in all the neighborhoods, and we love to bring in our local talent and mix it in with invited talent and produce festivals that everyone can enjoy.
Grant Park is also where you can find a celebration for your taste buds. Taste of Chicago is the city's biggest summer event that draws a crowd of 3.5 million people in a single day.
A big group of that 3.5 million are here for the fireworks, and the best way that we've heard about from people of getting down here and getting home on July 3rd is taking the CTA.
That's right. The CTA is well equipped to handle crowds of people going to or coming from Grant Park.
We provide additional buses. We extend the hours as necessary in order to get people home. And we also provide longer trains with longer hours as well in order to meet the demand. So we're very well equipped to handle large crowds, and we do it as a matter of course.
With the help of the CTA, you can get to Grant Park from all over town.
We have any number of bus routes, most of which are accessible in order to get to the park. They can get here on the subway or the elevated.
To find a route that best fits your needs, check out the CTA's website, transitchicago.com. Click on Trip Planner, plug in your starting and ending points, and voila, it's all laid out for you. There are other reasons to visit Grant Park this summer. You can take in classic films under the stars, watch one of the summer's most spectacular fireworks displays, or enjoy performances by the Chicago Symphony. Of course, you can come to Grant Park any time of year.
It's a great location. It's close to the lakefront. It's within the sort of beautiful vistas of Museum Campus, Navy Pier. Buckingham Fountain is the centerpiece that people always seem to gravitate towards. And then it's close to downtown. So all of those activities blended together give Grant Park sort of its ideal location.
But rather than fighting the traffic to Grant Park, remember to take the CTA.
So take the CTA and give us a chance, and we believe that once you've done this, that you'll be doing it again.
We're taking the number 22 Clark Street bus to our first stop, the Chicago Historical Society, and we're using a visitor pass. It's one of the most economical ways to explore the city on the CTA.
The best way to see the sights is on the CTA. So if you're planning a day out or if you're a tourist in town, listen up. Your top bargain for traveling around the city is a CTA visitor pass.
Oh, absolutely, it's the way to go. The CTA offers service in Chicago and 40 surrounding communities. Most of Chicago is less than 4 blocks away from a bus stop or a rail station. And then most of the places that tourists want to go are right here in the Central District, which we know has great mass transportation.
Hi, how are you? I'd like to buy a 2-day CTA pass, please.
Visitor passes are sold by the day. You can buy a 1-day pass for $5, a 2-day pass for $9, a 3-day pass for $12, or a 5-day pass for $18. Your visitor pass activates the first time you use it, and it's good for the number of consecutive days on the front of the pass.
Depending on where you go and how much you use it, you end up spending much less than the average person does riding the system every day. And of course, the more days you buy, the greater the discount.
A CTA visitor pass is a lot cheaper than cab rides or parking fees, and great for travelers on a budget.
Many of our customers are students, seniors, elder hostel, and others that are traveling on a budget. A visitor pass works absolutely perfectly for these people because it enables them to achieve tremendous mobility within the city for a very small investment.
The visitor pass is economical and convenient for tourists or visiting friends and relatives who use the CTA to get around during their stay. Visitor passes are available at 26 locations throughout Chicagoland, including both airports, Hot Tix booths, and the visitor information centers at the Cultural Center and at Waterworks across from Water Tower Place. Here's a few more places to buy your visitor pass. Remember, traveling is easy when you take the CTA.
We encourage Chicagoans to stay at home and be tourists in their own city.
If you're planning to visit Chicago's museums this summer, the visitor pass is an inexpensive way to see them all. And if you're a sports fan, be sure to add the Chicago Historical Society to your itinerary. It's our first stop.
Riding the Red Line to see the Cubs and Sox is a Chicago baseball tradition. Such a tradition, in fact, that the Chicago Historical Society mocked up a Red Line train as part of their new exhibit, Chicago Sports, You Should Have Been There.
Last summer, the CTA ran an ad saying that the only thing the Cubs and the Sox had in common was the Red Line. So we felt we would use that as a way of moving people from our southern gallery where the exhibition begins to our northern gallery where the exhibition ends, so that people actually leave Comiskey Park, get on the CTA, and wind up at Wrigley Field a few hundred feet later.
Besides shuttling exhibit goers, the Red Line has mementos of its own. These posters celebrate the Red Line and the Crosstown Classic. That's the annual series between the Cubs and the Sox taking place this year in June. Artist Steve Musgrave has been creating the CTA's Red Line posters for the past few years. Designing the posters allows Steve to combine his love of baseball with an artistic style that's bold, bright, and playful.
I'm hoping that my work has kind of a lightheartedness, like a kind of a fun sensibility.
The CTA began producing the Red Line posters in 1998. When Steve began designing them, he says he was influenced by the illustrators who went before him.
There were these great program covers done in the 40s and 50s for the Cubs by Otis Shepard, who was just a genius illustrator. And I had him in mind when I did this poster in particular, and people responded to that.
In addition to the posters this year, the CTA has created 2 special fair cards. One commemorates the 2003 All-Star Game being played in July at the home of the White Sox, U.S. Cellular Field. The other is a tribute to the Crosstown Classic. Both cards were designed by Steve. Now, if you ride the Red Line to or from Addison Station, Steve's artwork may look familiar. 4 of his paintings are on display inside. The station has special meaning to Steve. He adopted it in 1998 as part of the CTA's Adopt a Station program.
I thought it would be fun to do these big paintings, and once I had it in my mind what this project could be, I kind of thought, oh, there's no way I'm not going to do it.
The paintings depict Steve's all-time favorite Cubs players. This one shows Ryne Sandberg catching the ball as Cardinal Ozzie Smith slides into base.
I thought this had a lot of good tension in it. It's got different, angles and action coming in different directions. I think my favorite painting is the Ernie Banks painting. It's a single person in the painting, and he's very heroic looking, and he was my favorite player.
Ernie Banks was a favorite of the CTA's as well, but for more than his baseball skill. Banks served as a CTA board member between 1969 and 1980. As a child in Chicago's western suburbs, Steve grew up watching the home team.
We'd come home from school and watch the games on WGN and listen to Jack Brickhouse, and then we'd go outside and, practice our Ernie Banks, batting poses.
And now Steve isn't just watching his favorite team, but drawing them too.
How nice that I was able to do something affiliated with the team I liked and the city I love. It just all made sense.
We're on our way to Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs. The ballpark is at the center of what many consider to be one of Chicago's hottest neighborhoods. Our destination, Wrigleyville.
Located just 4 miles north of the Loop, Wrigleyville is a neighborhood within a neighborhood. It's situated within Lakeview, but there's no question Wrigleyville has an identity all its own.
I've always liked the neighborhood. It's lively, there's a lot of people, there's always something going on.
To get the scoop on Wrigleyville, we met up with Tony Capoletta. He's a greeter with the Chicago Office of Tourism's Chicago Greeter Program.
So Tony, tell me why Wrigleyville is such a great destination.
Wrigleyville right now is one of Chicago's most beautiful and popular neighborhoods to live in. There are a lot of really great old apartment buildings and single-family homes that people are living in, and the entertainment just can't be compared to in the rest of the city. It is certainly one of the most popular destinations in the city of Chicago today, and much of that scene is very much centered around the Chicago Cubs.
Hey, $1 smart card!
The Chicago Cubs have an enormous presence here.
Cubby!
The team's home, Wrigley Field, has been around close to a century.
So Tony, here we are in Wrigley Field. Tell me, when was this park actually built?
This park was built in 1914 by Charles H. Wiegman, and it was originally opened under the name Wiegman Park.
The Wrigley family purchased the Cubs in 1920, later changing the name of the park to Wrigley Field.
And is it the oldest stadium?
It's actually the second oldest stadium in Major League Baseball behind Boston's Fenway Park.
The park is famous for its beautiful grounds, complete with ivy-covered walls.
The ivy is really well loved by many people who come here. It's one of those characteristics that's just a part of what is unique about Wrigley Field. It was actually put up in 1937 for the first time when they expanded the field outward a little bit and also built a new scoreboard, which is the same one that you see today.
Regardless of how that scoreboard reads, you will find some of the most loyal fans in the country here.
This is a shrine. I love this place. From the ballpark to the dog park, we are at Wrigley Field. Now we are at Wrigley Field. Tell us about this place.
Yes, actually, this is an extension of a park that was created by the Chicago Park District in 1970, one of 36 different parks to add more park space to underserved areas. Finally, in the 1990s, as this area became a really popular and exciting place to live, residents realized that they needed a place to bring their dogs. The Park District went and decided to designate this place as the city's first off-leash dog area.
Wrigley Field is completely fenced in with a special double gate entry, a timeout area, even a canine agility course. But the park is owner-friendly as well. There are benches for sitting, water fountains for drinking, and plastic bags for, well, you know.
It's a very popular place, and if you're riding the red or the brown line, you go by here, you can just any time of day just see it full of dogs and people having fun together.
Been kissed by a dog.
One of Chicago's oldest firehouses can be found in Wrigleyville. Engine Company 78, right across the street from Wrigley Field. Inside, the Cubs spirit is alive. Firefighter John Sampson painted this sign, which mimics the real one.
That's a rendition of the Wrigleyville sign that's on Addison and Clark. Generally, when a lot of firemen come in from out of town, they want to know how old's this company been here?
The answer is clearly displayed for anyone who asks. 109 years, longer than the Cubs. And because of its history, Engine Company 78 has a reputation as a tourist attraction.
It's just an old-time firehouse that they don't build anymore. It's just jam-packed full of people, and firemen from all over the country come in here, taking pictures and, you know, wanting to see the firehouse.
The firehouse is also popular with the neighbors.
Sometimes we get the players come over here, the coaches will come over here, neighborhood dogs, people with babies. It's an interesting firehouse because you know just about everybody in the neighborhood.
Indeed, Wrigleyville is a real family community with some of the most beautiful older homes you'll find anywhere in the city. It's also where you'll find the landmark district of Alta Vista Terrace. Known as the Street of 40 Doors, this unique block was built by a Chicago developer to mimic London's row house style. Make it part of your day in Wrigleyville. It's a short walk and pleasing to the eye. Wrigleyville is also pleasing to the taste buds.
This is one of the places in the city where you've got the highest concentration of restaurants available in any one kind of walking distance area. And in fact, looking around here, I can spot a Japanese restaurant, an Ethiopian restaurant, an Italian restaurant. The diversity of the foods and the cultures that are just kind of converging on this very spot, it's really like no other.
Getting to Wrigleyville is easy on the CTA. Here's a look at some of the routes you can take. With the CTA, you can't go wrong.
The commute was really easy taking the CTA, and so we actually got dropped off halfway, and we just took the CTA over here, so it's pretty easy.
The CTA's Harrison Curve, located just south of the Loop, has been a part of Chicago's landscape for over a century. Now, that historic curve has been straightened.
On Memorial Day weekend 2003, we're going through and moving the old Harrison Curve and replacing it with a new S-curve, and we're going to get the speeds of the trains up from 10 miles an hour up to 35 miles an hour.
Straightening the curve means green and orange line trains can now move through this section of track faster, allowing more trains to travel into the loop. Almost 59,000 CTA customers travel this route each day.
It's going to be a little strange, you know, that's a part of history. That S system has been in Chicago for a long time. But this is the city with the greatest public transportation system in the world, so improvements have to be made.
There's still some demolition work to be done. The CTA expects the project to be completed this fall.
We're about halfway through our route, making our way to US Cellular Field, our final stop. Now, die-hard baseball fans know that the CTA's Red Line is the only direct link between Wrigley Field and US Cellular Field, home of the White Sox. But I bet you didn't know that there's a piece of baseball history to see in between. It's at Chicago's Field Museum.
Whether you're a die-hard fan or a sideline spectator, Baseball is America has something for you. The exhibition explores baseball beyond the outfield, showing how the sport is more than just a game.
As baseball has evolved with American history, America's changed as well, and baseball's influenced America, America's influenced baseball. And even if you aren't a big fan or have a favorite player, you'll leave having learned something about baseball and its role in American culture.
More than 500 artifacts from the National Baseball Hall of Fame are on display at the Field Museum. If you love baseball, you're going to love the old-time memorabilia. Check out the 1909 Honus Wagner baseball card, or the first ball pitched by Cy Young in the first ever World Series. Of course, Chicago is all about baseball, so Baseball is America wouldn't be complete without local nostalgia.
We've got Harry Carey's eyeglasses, his iconic eyeglasses. There's a Michael Jordan baseball bat, plenty of Sammy Sosa material as well.
Baseball has always united Americans, so it was very symbolic when a souvenir ball was found in the rubble of the World Trade Center.
Baseball brings people together. Baseball can lift your spirit even after 9/11. That's what baseball does.
The CTA provides easy access to Chicago's museum campus. Several bus routes serve the Field Museum, as well as its neighbors, the Shedd Aquarium and the Adler Planetarium. Here's a look. So before you head out to the ball game, ride the CTA to the Field Museum and get a new perspective on one of America's favorite pastimes.
Come to the Field Museum, see the baseball exhibit, and enjoy a big part of what America's all about.
And take public transportation.
The museum campus is one of Chicago's hottest tourist attractions and is served by 3 rail lines, the red, the orange, and the green. All 3 are connected by a new tunnel, which could actually be a tourist attraction all by itself.
If you transfer to a red, orange, or green line train at Roosevelt Station, you may be in for a surprise. The Roosevelt Transfer Tunnel isn't your usual connection point, but more of a special place just for CTA customers.
When I realized that they did this, I'm like, this is nice.
Walking through the tunnel, you go on an evolutionary journey that celebrates the nearby museum campus.
The ceiling has a metal design which is designed to resemble the spine of a creature. It could be a sea creature resembling the Shedd Aquarium. It could be a dinosaur going back to the Field Museum. So it really picks up the themes of the museum campus.
The Roosevelt Tunnel was opened in 2002 especially for CTA customers. In the past, customers had to go outside to change trains. Now with the tunnel, everyone stays nice and dry, and you may even learn a little something along the way.
It's been done not just as a tunnel, but as a really magical space with great information, and it just gives people a really terrific sense of public transit and the fact that Chicago values public transit.
The tunnel gets even better. At the other end is a mosaic with a story of its own. More than 4,000 people helped to create these walls of art. Originally, the tiles were to be used for another project at the museum campus, but after being in storage for a few years, their final home became the Roosevelt Tunnel. The tile designs represent the hopes and dreams of Chicagoans as we began the 21st century.
The themes are everything you could imagine. They're everything from wedding rings and peace doves to children playing and flowers. A lot of it is very nature focused. A lot of it seems to be focused toward peace and the earth.
2 artists put the tiles together to create the mosaic design. When it was all done, more people had contributed to this project than any other piece of public art in the country.
When you look at it, you see clouds and animals and oceans and skies, trees, all of these things that reflect our natural earth. So it's not an overt thing. It's beautiful and it's unexpected because you come around a corner and here's this piece of art.
The Roosevelt Transfer Tunnel even goes beyond beauty. It's equipped with an elevator and escalator, making it functional for the 6,000 people that pass through here each day.
Just yesterday, I was going through the tunnel and I heard a woman ahead of me say, "I feel so calm and peaceful when I'm in this tunnel." And whoever says that about a transfer tunnel, it's terrific.
Thanks to help from the City of Chicago, everyone can enjoy making connections on the CTA even more.
I think it speaks volumes about the wonderful opportunities that were provided by the city and the Department of Cultural Affairs and by the museum campus to put this together and really make it sing, and it does sing.
The Red Line drops you off right at the doorstep of U.S. Cellular Field, and from the moment you step off the train, you know you're in White Sox territory.
One look around the 35th Street station and you'll spot everything White Sox, beginning with the team's logo. It's all part of the station's 2-year renovation project.
One of the things we did was we put down the new floor to let everybody know that 35th Street is for the Sox, and we're encouraging customers to ride the system to go over to the park.
The CTA has also installed a new customer assistance kiosk and new fare card machines at the station. But that's not all. There's also a new elevator, additional emergency call buttons, and better lighting.
The lighting gives our customers a sense of security, which is what we want our customers to have as they ride the CTA. It also let our customers know, being a well-lit station, we are aware of what's going on in that station.
Renovations at Sox 35th Street are happening outdoors as well. With the help of the Chicago Department of Transportation, a new canopy will protect CTA customers from the elements as they access the station's 2 bus routes.
The purpose of the mid-bridge canopy is to make this station more inviting to the patrons so that our customers feel that the connectivity between our stations and the community.
Giving the Sox 35th Street station a facelift is all part of the CTA's commitment to the more than 2,000 customers that use the station each weekday.
Pretty gives everybody a comfort zone, and I think Pretty tells our customers that this is a place I want to be. It's a friendly place. It's a place of welcoming.
Now, this isn't the final inning. Keep an eye out for upgrades to the Sox 35th Street platform this fall.
So Rob, tell us a little bit about the importance of the CTA's Red Line to the White Sox organization and their fans.
Well, you know, it's not just the White Sox fans that get a benefit out of the Red Line. Thousands of them do every game. It's so convenient. It stops right at the park, comes all the way down from the north and up from the south. But our employees use it as well. We use it to go to meetings downtown. It's so much easier than looking for parking and things like that. And also, our players use it.
Oh, right.
You never know when you might be sitting next to one of the starting lineup on your way to the game.
It's going to be a busy, exciting summer here at U.S. Cellular Field and at Wrigley. Here's a quick look at some of the highlights. Get out there and enjoy the games. We'll meet you right back here at U.S. Cellular Field next month for the start of another adventure around Chicagoland on the CTA. Thanks for watching. I'm Dale Rivera. See you next time on Connections.
For more information about the CTA or to use the RTA's trip planner, visit our website at www.transitchicago.com. Or for customer service matters, call 1-888-YOUR-CTA. For travel information, call the RTA at 836-7000 from anywhere in the Chicago area. And to find out more about the Chicago Office of Tourism's Chicago Greeter program, call 312-744-8000 or visit chicagogreeter.com on the web.